Oftentimes I see clients who want to be a business owner, but they don't really know exactly what kind of business that they want to be in. They just simply know that they want to be their own boss and they want to own their own particular business. And I tell them that there's basically 3 different ways that you can go in becoming an entrepreneur, to go into business, and each of them comes with additional risk that you go in there. And when I tell them the easiest, or not the easiest, but the least risky way to become a business owner is through an acquisition of somebody else's business. Now, a lot of people don't do that because they think it costs a lot of money, and they think that if a lot of times the seller of that business is trying to unload a dog. But in many cases, previous business owners may be bored with the business. They have other interests at this point, and they just want to ultimately sell that particular business. Now, the reason that becomes the least risky is because on day one, when the previous owner hands over the keys to you, you have customers who know that you exist, you probably have employees who know how to do their jobs, and you have revenue coming in immediately from day one going forward. Now, the next option down with respect to starting a business is what we call purchasing a franchise. Now, purchasing a franchise is quite a bit different than either starting from scratch or something, because a franchise actually comes with a script. Sometimes it's been referred to as a business in a box. It's really about people who are more of a president than a CEO kind of a person, or more, maybe you've heard some other my TikToks where I talk about things that people who are more farmers than they are hunters, that type of thing. So it's generally for people maybe coming out of a corporate environment, those kinds of things. But essentially, you don't have to reinvent the business operations. You usually get them directly from the franchisor. It's a proven system, and it's really about execution of a business model rather than trying to come up with one and trying to find something that sticks, which is what generally happens with a startup type of a scenario, which is the last one. So, but most people will go out there and they'll say, listen, I want to start from scratch. And when they start from scratch, quite frankly, they have effectively no customers that know what they want. There's a long period of time that lags between the time that they open up their business and the time that they reach break even. If they do hire employees, they have to educate those employees. Like I said, the customers don't even know that you exist, so you have to build a brand and a lot of other kind of things. So while it doesn't require a lot of money on the outset, in fact, it's going to take much longer time-wise to develop that. And in most cases, the number one reason that businesses fail is they run out of money. And so when you do a startup, while it doesn't cost much to start, most of the times their failures are related to the fact that they run out of money. So if you're just thinking, hey, listen, I just want to be a business owner, I want to run my own business, I want to be able to do those kind of things, think about maybe doing an acquisition of an existing business. And oftentimes the seller will actually be the person that you'll be paying for the business over long term. So they may be your banker or something like that. So even if you might not qualify for a typical loan or something along that line, we usually say when you do that, it's a third and a third and a third, which basically means that you probably have to come up with about a third of the cash that's required, and that will relieve most of the debt that's on the seller's perspective. The other third essentially is maybe you can get from some type of financing from some other lending institution, and then a third is actually, oftentimes is actually offered through by the seller, and essentially he becomes the lender of choice to go do that. If in fact you're coming out of corporate America, certainly something to think about is the franchise model. It's very proven. It's very scalable in those particular things. But by and large, most people are going to start from scratch. But you just need to understand that represents the most risky path to becoming a business owner.